That whole thing you saw, reminiscent of John Mayer. And he implements what I like to call, and what I'm going to coin here today in this video, as micro movements. John Mayer and these cats that are amazing guitar players, they have the same amount of notes that you do. They have the same amount of frets that you do. And here's the thing though, they use micro movements to squeeze all the soul and all the juice out of every single note. Say for instance, you're in this pentatonic shape, D minor, the D minor Bach shape that everyone knows. Here's the thing. What he's doing is he bending into each and every one of those notes. So instead of playing a phrase like this, something that a beginner or intermediate even would play, that a beginner or intermediate would play something like this. Okay? Notice how flat every note is. And a professional like a John Mayer uses micro movements. I'm talking bending, not a half bend, not a quarter bend, not even an eighth bend. I'm talking like millimeters. But those little millimeters add up to soul. That adds up to the character that the listener perceives as great, as professional. So instead of an intermediate player going like this, John Mayer or someone using micro movements would say this. Notice this. Notice that little bend right there. It ain't even like a quarter bend or an eighth bend. It's like tiny. It's micro. Let's have another example. What about a phrase like this? That's what an intermediate player would do. They just play it flat, no vibrato, no micro movements. But here's the thing. You can bend into that first note and end. It's going to sound like a vocalist. It's going to sound like a slide guitar player. And those little micro movements are going to allow you to emote what's here, right? It's going to allow you to play with confidence and allow you to play with an elevated sound rather than just playing like a flat intermediate style, no vibrato, no little micro movements. Okay, let's go over another example. Okay, we're still going to use this box shape. Cats like John Mayer basically live here. It's not like they're learning all these crazy arpeggios and these crazy licks like sweep picking. It's like it's so basic, but it's also not. And I think the problem to date, there hasn't been a word for what cats like Mayer do, and those micro movements really help encapsulate what he's doing and what he's emoting. Okay, so let's go over another example. What about just playing something like this? Okay? Now, here's the thing. The micro movement is going to come over here, right? That sounds pretty stock, stock blues lick that has like no flavor, no soul. So this micro movement's coming over here this time. And I'm just raking up, to give that flavor. And I'm bending this note, so it's like it's so bluesy, right? It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit. It's not a lot. But trust me, just try it out. Trust me, try it out, and tell me it won't transform your playing. Tell me it won't elevate your sound. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to take away from this lesson is you can approach these notes in this pentatonic scale. You can approach any of the notes by just a little bit, like a hair under or a hair over, right? And I want you to get in the habit of just having this like micro movement, not big quarter, not whole bends, not even half bends. I want it like little bit, like a little tiny micro. Like that. Like that. Like little micro, tiny little things. Okay? Tell me it won't transform your playing. Let me know how this sounds, if it's helpful in the comments. Thanks for tuning in.